everyone, and welcome to Transformational Tuesdays. I'm Teresa Velardi, your host for this time of inspiration, education, motivation, and conversation focused on key ingredients necessary to create positive change in our lives, commonly known as transformation. And I am excited today because I have one of my favorite people in the entire world who's my guest. And I'm going to introduce her in a second, but I want to also remind everyone to please tell your friends about Transformational Tuesdays. Some of you have, and we've been getting a few new people in, so I'm loving seeing the new faces and seeing the new phone numbers pop up on the side screen here. So tell everybody about Transformational Tuesdays. And also, if you or someone you know would be a good fit to be a guest on Transformational Tuesdays, I would love to hear from you. Go to transformationaltuesdays.com/contact Teresa, and I will gladly follow up with whoever it is that you would like to recommend. So anyone who's in the transformational conversation is welcome into this call, whether it's as a guest or as an attendee and some of you come on a regular basis, and I love seeing your faces on this Zoom platform. It's amazing to me. So all right, let's get started. Barbara Yager. Some of you know her because she attends here on a regular basis, but it's time to really dig deep into who Barbara is and what she does. And she has a great role and a great purpose in this world, as do every one of you. But let me just give you some information, background information on Barbara. So Barbara Yager, she is a former corporate attorney. She reinvented herself as a best-selling author and motivational speaker 5 years ago. Barbara took all her experience and knowledge and pursued a new path and purpose to help people work better together. She now dedicates herself to the notion that when you lead with heart and the knowledge of who you are at the core level, all things become possible. Barbara loves to help people and businesses find a better way to live and work. Barbara believes that when you know who you are at the core level, that information uplifts us in ways that we have not previously experienced. We all fill roles in life, Barbara says. Some of those roles do not fit us, but we struggle to fit into them every day. And struggle we do. It is totally not necessary, says Barbara. And she has recently launched a new product designed to get people working together. Her revolutionary GAP, core power system is unique and is designed to help people recognize who they are at their core level. Barbara focuses on the people side of business and teaches her clients how to put her system to work in their organizations to uplift people, promote understanding, and promote a more conscious way of doing business. Welcome, Barbara, to our Transformational Tuesdays program. Yay! I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. So I want to just let people know a little bit more about the GAP power system, which is, and we're going to talk about it for this hour, but I just want to give on the topic that we sent out for everyone today. The GAP core power system is a unique and revolutionary, conscious, focused business product that helps people individually and in organizations to recognize and understand who they are at the core level, which we said in the introduction. This information helps people to recognize and use their unique powers and how to put them to work in their jobs, their businesses, and their lives. Now, there's a lot of entrepreneurial women who come to this conversation who may be going down the wrong path. And, so, you know, I mean, that was me for a long time. Cece? She's giggling already. Who may be going down the wrong path. You know, you're trying to make something work and it's just not working. The money's not there. Your energy is low. You're feeling like you feel in one side of you says you're doing what you want to do, but something else is tugging at you that you should be doing something different. Anybody relate? All right. Well, you're in the right place because Barbara's going to help us today to go through some of the reasons why, why this is happening. And we're going to go as deeply as we can in 1 hour, but then you'll have an opportunity to talk to her on their own. So Barbara, welcome again. I'm so excited for this conversation. you're gonna help a lot of us straighten out our roads because we're walking down winding paths and seem to be lost, So
Don't see ourselves. We just don't see ourselves.
exactly,
That's all it
exactly.
is. It's that simple. We just don't clearly see ourselves.
Okay. So, it interests me, it like shocks me almost that you went from being a corporate attorney to this very, very different way of being, way of running business, way of helping people. Why did you give up the law, and how hard was it for you to reinvent yourself?
Well, everybody has a path. And when I really figured myself out, I could see that my corporate path wasn't really where I needed to be. It was a great training ground because I could see all the things that were wrong. And I was powerless to fix them because I just wasn't in that capacity. The law made me tired. I felt very weary. I didn't want to go to work anymore. I was just really, really tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't find it hard to reinvent because I knew something bigger was waiting for me. Once I clearly saw who I was, then I knew where I needed to go. So I was at a point where I could just say, okay, this is it. I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and do some writing. I'm going to do some speaking because that's really the essence of part of who I am. So it wasn't hard to reinvent because I went in the direction of who I knew I really was.
Yeah, and that's so many. I'm sorry.
I want to say also that I did use those talents in being a lawyer and doing the corporate work, but it was always under the layers of all this other stuff. And now I am much more authentic and showing up how I really am.
And that's what the goal for this conversation is, to help people to be authentic and really do what their soul was meant to do when we arrived here on this planet. So why did you choose to go from law to motivational speaking? That's a huge difference. And I know that you used your talents and you were able to do some of this inside the corporate arena, but you took a big step outside that box, so to speak. And why choose motivational speaking?
Well, because I have an ability to communicate. That's a soul gift. That's a core power gift, as I call it. Mm-hmm. And I'm when I show up and I could be reciting ABCs. People just listen. It's kind of like E.F. Hutton. And we all have these core powers. There's 8 core powers. I saw mine and I knew that motivational speaking would be the thing. When I was in the 3rd grade, the 4th grade, my teachers used to write on my report card, Barbara is an excellent student, but she talks too much in class. Now, I'm telling you, at that age, that was already showing up. Now, they may have disapproved of my core power and my beautiful traits, but nonetheless, they were there. And so now, I came to a point where I said, I've got to honor that. I need to get out and write. And people who have a core power trait in communication, they're writers, they're speakers, they're teachers. They really are the essence of getting out there. But we've got these unique points of view that we like to bring out to the world. And that's what we do when you have that core power trait of communication.
Right. So Cece says, I love E.F. Hutton. When E.F. Hutton speaks, we listen. Isn't that exactly the tagline? Yeah. So that's awesome. Yeah. So when Barbara Yager speaks, we're listening, girl.
And it's been my experience that people will come up to me after I'm doing what I'm doing, and they'll say, I could listen to you speak all day. And I never could understand that until I really started to honor myself and look at myself. So
yeah, and that's key, what you just said, honor yourself. And I think I can relate, having been in the insurance business for 20 years and then stepped way outside of that box as you did. I mean, I wasn't honoring myself in that business. I was making some money, but I was just like being stifled by the experience of being an insurance agent. So I totally understand what you said. So how did you come up with the idea of this core power system? And I want to also ask in there, you said a few minutes ago that there are 8 different core power centers. Can we incorporate that in here as well?
Yep, we can.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, this is a great story. It starts back in my corporate days one of the things that I did that was primary function of a role I had as an attorney, and remember, there's no mistakes in life. So everything I did there prepared me for this. I just think this is the real truth of how I got to where I am. One of the things that I did as part of my job was the major piece was that I negotiated contracts. I worked in a financial institution. When I started at the organization, we were 500 million in assets. When I ended, we were $6 billion in
Oh
size.
my word.
We were a big company, and so I saw all that growth. Well, you can imagine businesses have all these contracts and everything that goes in it. Well, I love contracts. Contracts are nothing more than a big puzzle, and you've got to get all the pieces in the right place in order to make that puzzle have a picture and make sense. And of course, contracts are how we manage our risk. All right, so here's what you need to know. Every time I go to a contract negotiation, it was like a bunch of wild animals. We had people with motivations over here and motivations over there. And the whole idea is you have to get everybody's motivations in one place so that you can get everybody to agree, so you can get something to write down and sign, okay? Well, I started to realize that it wasn't so much about what the language was, because you get a contract and it would be just a big mess and the pieces would be scattered all over the place and you had to kind of order them. But what I noticed is that, remember, business is all about people. And whether you're negotiating contracts or you're working in your own entrepreneurial business, you're engaging with people. Mm-hmm. So I started to make this little, I don't know, I started it as a game, but I started to notice that people had certain qualities. And, I always was into horoscope and everything. And I thought, oh, that must be a Gemini, or that person is, and a Pisces or a Taurus. And then what happened is I started to realize that was a little more than that. So I would look at the people who were coming to the negotiation, and I would start to recognize what they were person-wise, core-wise. And I developed the system, the core power system, through looking at understanding how to talk to people by looking at how they show up. So over time and a lot of research, and I mean hundreds of contract negotiations, I got a really good idea. So when I would see a person who had absolutely no patience for the process at all, and I would look at them and I'd think, uh-oh, I got a mover and shaker here. And mover and shakers are the people who love to experience themselves. They want a lot of input. I call them the manifestors. They want to manifest stuff. Contract negotiation, if it doesn't move along at a good pace, is going to stifle them, frustrate them, and they will give up. So my corporate attorney, I had an outside corporate attorney who was brilliant, but he wasn't a mover and shaker. He is what I call, he was a person who is a harmonizer. He loved balance and beauty. That was the area where perfectionism lives. And so what happened is I could see his very methodical traits. And he said to me one time, you can get anything you want with a little bit of power and persistence and patience. Well, most people in contract negotiation, it's like pulling teeth. They don't want to be there. They hate the process. They don't understand the process. So I would have to move him along a little more quickly if I had a mover and shaker. So this is how I learned to get people to work together, is not only was I interpreting the law and talking about liability and risk and negligence and all these things that go into the contract, but I was also fostering an understanding between people. So I would say to a mover and shaker, my attorney here is brilliant. If you let him do his thing, he will really help you and guide you so that we can get the best paper ever. And we will try to make this as quickly as possibly as we can. Now, the other thing about me is I learned that I am not only a communicator, but I am what they call a harmonizer. Harmonizers are people who, when they show up, they just make people feel better. And so I have this little glow about me, and it's anybody who out there is listening who might be a harmonizer, people will come up to you and talk to you like strangers. All of a sudden you'll be standing in the grocery line and they're talking to you and they're standing close to you and you're like, this person's in my space. And we sort of have a healing vibe about us. So when we show up, things just get better and more interesting. So I actually have I'm an equal person, and I have a show and tell. It's a show and tell. This is my wheel. Okay. And you can see the red and the turquoise. Those are my qualities of being a communicator and a harmonizer. The the yellow part is balance and beauty. So that's what made me a good lawyer, is I was able to be a little bit more perfectionism. And so that's what everybody has. Everybody's got a wheel. I'll show that again. For people who can see, people who can't see, I'm showing a circle with colors. It's a pie chart. And it's all 8 sections. And that's the beauty of us knowing who we are, is we get that pie chart and we can break down all those areas. And then what happens is, not only do you understand the people you live with, the people you love, the people that we can all bring together so that we can start to realize something that's so important. We are not separate and different. We are very much alike.
Yeah, we are.
So you have to really learn how to speak to each other. So that's how the core power system came into being, as I created it out of contract negotiation. But then I started to use it, and I realized, wow, this is it. And when I first left the law, I didn't realize how I was really going to develop it. But over time, I did do that, and I've added to it, and I've perfected it, and now I'm bringing it out to the world.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Cece's already asking, is there a test we can take to see what we are? Yeah. So yes, there is. And Barbara, a little bit later, we're going to talk about how people can connect with you in order to be able to find out what core power center they are. So in your little example there, which is actually a big example because I'm taking notes here. So I wrote down several different areas: communicator, manifester, harmonizer, and what else? Those are the 3 that I wrote down.
So there's people who are great in wisdom, and they are sort of the seekers. They know. Cece's a mover shaker. Yeah. I think you might be right, Cece. We also have people who are really much about, they love to be in organizations, they're helpers. They are the ones who are working in hospice and hospitals. They're the people who have that dedicated passion to make a difference in the world. And then Teresa, we know that you're a builder. We know that you build things. You build, whether you're building beautiful buildings, gardens, you build communities of people. And then, we have the balance and beauty. We've got the people who are the harmonizers and the communicators. One of my favorite groups of people, though, that I love the most, we either love them or hate them, are the truth tellers. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the truth tellers are really the ones who help us stand in our truth. And so you'll be doing something and they'll come in and they'll just zing you because they see clearly the truth. My business partner in our company called BE, stands for Barb and Eileen, but we also say it stands for Be Excellent, Be Wonderful. She's a truth teller. So when we get into a company, I'm just telling you something, she is amazing because she can cut right to the chase. Now, truth tellers, sometimes we're all like, I can't hear that truth. It's too much for me. And so the truth tellers are kind of fun to have around. We need them. Yeah. But anyway, and we have the movers and shakers, and then we have the wisdom seekers. And the wisdom seekers are wonderful people. They're the ones who see into the bigger picture of things. They are filled with just good knowing. They have, as I call it, uncommon common sense. Mm-hmm. And they're fantastic too. They see everything and they see the bigger picture. Actually, they're the ones that are very tuned into the powers of the universe, and they know how to use it in life. And they're just fantastic to have around. Now here, remember, we are all of these.
I was going to say, because I can relate to, I'm like, yeah, I'm a little bit of that. I'm a little bit of that. I'm a little bit of that. And show your pie chart again, because that shows, that clearly shows, for those who are listening on the phone, I highly recommend you look at this on the video. That clearly shows the 8 different core centers, divided among who Barbara actually is at core level based on the information she gathers from people. So there's a little bit of everything, a multitude of color in there.
That's right. If we really pay attention, we really recognize everyone.
Yes.
So in other words, like when you go into things like the DISC training, or you do Myers-Briggs, or you do even Strength Finders, which is, somewhat close to this. I was always a huge proponent of Strength Finders. Mm-hmm. You see those things as separate. You're separate from others because you're not in that quadrant or that box or that communication style. But the core power system doesn't work that way. It works on the notion that we are all of those 8 things. And as a result, we actually know how to speak to one another. So what I did was at work, I took this and I started to think about, all the people that I worked with. And then I looked at my CEO, who was a mover and shaker, of course. He liked things happen. They thrive on new experiences. They want to experience. So they always want things from you, movers and shakers. And then I know my boss, she was a mover and shaker. And as soon as I understood that, I knew how to communicate with her. She liked bullet points. When I would go in and do an update with her, I would never talk about the details of my projects because she would just sit there. And one time she would go like this, like, hurry it up. She's like, mover and shaker, and so once I understood her, I would give her the short and sweet, down and dirty answers to what she needed so that she can move on and continue to multitask and spin like a top. That's what movers and shakers do. They need to be balanced, though. New movers and shakers must be balanced. And if they try to do things from a point of not balance, that's a big mess. That's a big no-no. So anyway, those are the things that I noticed. And so I started to look around. But what I did is I looked at the people that I had the most trouble working with. And then I figured out who they were. And as a result, I could create better communication styles because we're not in a world now to not work together. We're in a world to understand each other. Businesses are reinventing because customers are reinventing. So anyway, that's the thing that I did at work. And I also shared it with a couple of my branch managers who took it back to their branch and helped to apply it in their branch, got them speaking better together, and their branch numbers improved.
Wow.
It was remarkable.
Yeah, so you just gave us a lot of information on why it's so important that we recognize things in people on the core level. How do we come to know in ourselves what those powers are? I mean, I'm sure everybody is writing down, okay, I'm a builder, I'm balanced, and I'm a truth teller, I'm a wisdom seeker, I'm this and that. But why is it so important for me to know that? I know that what you just said gave us a lot of that information, from a corporate level. If we are individual entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, why is it so important for me to know this information about myself?
Well, because when you're doing something, no matter what it is you're doing, we're here to experience ourselves. So this is your point of reference. This is your operating manual. This is how you show up and what you do in life. And so as a result of that, you're not going to do something that doesn't fit with you. And it depends upon how much you have. You are a community builder. You do that primary first and foremost.
Yes.
You build communities of authors. You're building communities on Transformational Tuesday. But you also bring your gift of communication to do this as well. You're not going to go work in a business where you're not going to talk to people and you're not going to try to build things.
Right.
You do well sitting let's just say, for instance, as a park ranger, sitting in a tower.
No, not for me.
Right. You're not going to go someplace where you're not going to be able to communicate and build and do your things. But there's other people who are much more balance and beauty. Nature is filled with balance and beauty. That would be a great occupation for someone who is focused on balance and beauty.
Yeah.
So we do things. Now, I want to just say this very clearly. We don't choose our careers. In our beginning life, we did not choose our careers. Our careers chose us because we were supposed to do something. Our parents had visions for us. Society did certain things. And what happened is we just moved around uncomfortably in doing all the things that we were supposed to do instead of really honoring who we are at core level, the gifts that we came here with, to know that we are able to do these things naturally, honestly, openly, and find our path based upon that. And everybody in every job right now can tweak their jobs. Every entrepreneur can say, I really am good at this, or I'm good at balance and beauty. How do I bring that out in what I do as an entrepreneur? How does my business look when I translate myself through those qualities? That's what you do on an individual basis using the core power system.
Wow, that's yeah. As you said that, we did what we were supposed to do, and basically we did it based on the beliefs and the paths of others and what they thought was best. And I have to go back to my conversation with Joe DiChiara a couple of weeks ago, who said that he got tricked into being a CPA.
I remember that. And he was absolutely right, because it was his dad that really pushed him in that direction. And so,
Exactly.
everybody was like, there were lawyers in my family. Well, you need to go to law school. There's lawyers in your family and nobody's gone to law school. So you got to do that. And it's not intellectually, it wasn't above my ability to do it. I got that. And I'm not saying that I regret the career, but I probably should have always been out talking to people about things that help them change their lives in a better way.
Yeah.
That's the truth about it. But we get focused on money. We think that this is what it's going to take to make money. But really, when your heart sings and you lead with your heart, as part of my bio, then what happens, everything orders itself, including the money.
Yeah. And that's so important. Say that again.
When you lead with your heart, everything orders itself and the money will come. And that's what's very true. When we do what we love, the money will come. So when you do what you love, that you have to know who you are at core level.
Yeah. And the thing that's, well, everything orders itself. Everything falls into place.
What do you love? And what do you love comes from knowing who you are.
Mm-hmm.
I love speaking. Right now, I am living the very best of who I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm writing down so many notes, and I'm seeing that people are putting questions in the chat box, and I want to let everybody know we're almost at the halfway point here. So if you're on the phone and you have a question for Barbara, press *9. You can raise your hand using *9 on your phone, and I will recognize you so that you can ask your question. If you are on the screen, you can click on that little button that says raise hand, and we can go ahead and recognize you, or just simply raise your hand. And I will recognize you to ask Barbara a question based on this incredibly good information. And this is, how many times you've heard me say that we come to this world with gifts and talents that only we can use in a way that only we can use them. And we have a specific purpose for having those gifts and talents. And I think that Barbara's core system really speaks to the opportunity to recognize those things. And here we are so many years after we came on the planet with these gifts and talents, and now we're looking to see, okay, so what do I do with this ability to speak, ability to create, ability to manifest, ability to seek wisdom, whatever it is that seems to speak to you mostly. Here's how you find out some of the things that you are supposed to do.
This is a brand new product. Okay. So yeah. I haven't had much time. I mean, it's not brand new in that I've used it for a long time, but it's brand new in bringing it out to the world. And I appreciate you having me here today, Teresa, to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I haven't had a chance yet to write the book.
Well, it's coming. We know it's coming. It's coming. After this conversation, you've got some great material for the book.
So. It has to come, because I think people need to be able to look at it and hold it in their hands. Organizations, and I want to talk about organizations for a second.
Yes, please.
Having a lot of corporate experience, organizations focus on two things. I call it the two sides of the business coin. There's the money side and the people side. Now, the money side of business is easy. It's understandable. You understand how numbers work. There's a logic, a flow, a rhythm, a balance sheet. And we all understand how the number side works. We have our efficiency, so we don't waste money. We know what we want to invest. We know how to do it. Everybody's, a budget is great. But the other side of the coin is the human side. Businesses are made up of humans, not of balance sheets. And yes, we need the balance sheets to make that other side balanced. But the reality is the human side of the coin, people don't understand it. And a lot of HR people, the executives will say, I don't know, HR will take care of that. Let HR fix that. And so this is a process, a product that HR people can use to really address the human side, because your customers are human, your employees are human, and it's not about getting them a pizza party. A pizza party's not going to do it. The best thing that you can do to honor, number one, who you are and or the people that you work with, to honor those people is to understand them and speak to them in a way that recognizes their core traits.
Right.
Because that's the best thing. There's appreciation comes in the form of really knowing how to get to work with someone. And that's that business side where people don't know what to do with the people. It's like being on safari. There's wild animals everywhere and no one knows if those animals are going to bite you or not.
Right.
And so everybody's like, I don't know what to do with the people side. It's unpredictable. It's magic, but this system addresses the people side because business is made of people.
Right.
And if you don't know how to talk to your customers, you have no business.
Yes.
So even as an entrepreneur, all of us who are sitting here today, if you don't know how to talk to the people in the world so that people can understand what your message is, so you need to be able to communicate it in a way or get somebody to help you communicate it or whatever it is. But the reality is that we need to know how we show up so that we can authentically be who we are. Whether we're working in our businesses, our jobs, it doesn't matter.
Right. And in this world of, your biggest asset is your ability to build relationships with people. This is the best tool to use in order to be able to do that. Whether you're talking about a corporate environment or whether you're talking about an entrepreneurial experience, everybody you talk to, be it, be it your target market or someone who may not fit into your big scheme of things of them being a client for you. You have to know how to talk to people. That's like the biggest key. And this program, this core power system that you've developed is absolutely, I believe, the way to discern who you are all through and through so that you can utilize that information and recognize it in others as well. So I know that you look for organizations to work with. So if anybody has an organization that they want to refer Barbara to, absolutely. How can they email you, Barbara? What's the best way for people to send that information?
Well, Eileen and I call ourselves the GAP, GAP, which stands for Growing Aligned People. We are the gapconcierge.com. And I know that's on the link. That's our company site. And they can call me. You can put my number up there too.
Okay, very good.
We love to, and I'm asking today to get this information out to the world. Yeah. For everybody who's on this call, I just want to start to bring this system out to the world. This is what I call Eileen and I call it a conscious business system. Conscious business is a new term in the business world, but your customers are demanding it and they're driving it. And that's the same with all of us entrepreneurs. We need to have a more conscious focus on the people side. We need to raise the level of how we deal with people because people don't want to work with or for companies who don't have a conscious focus anymore. Right. Millennials are really driving that. If they don't like the way something feels, then they are not going to be happy. And Eileen and I wrote an article that's on Gap Concierge that talks about some of the things that can really impact your business. And we're having a real problem finding qualified people. A lot of companies are, because a few years ago, I did read a book called The Coming Jobs War. And millennials don't work where they are not happy, where the environment doesn't feel good. So conscious business is really rising. And, with all of our systems that we have and all of the things that are happening and the problems in the world and the things that we hear every day on the TV, we get it, that it's not always pretty out there, that people aren't seeing what's really going on. But at the same time, they're not seeing how consciousness is rising.
Exactly. People are waking up. And that's where, we are in this time of awareness that the generation before us did not have.
When you go into a business, if you make a connection with someone who really hears you and takes care of you and understands you, they come back again and again and again, and they bring in their friends. That's called, that's broadcast customers. Mm-hmm. If you have a lot of broadcast customers who are broadcasting your vibe all of the time, then what happens is that you don't really worry so much about the money side because the broadcast customers take care of it.
Right.
Always grow your bottom line. That is organically how you grow a bottom line in a business, is by being human and showing up and doing the very best thing in communication that you can.
Yeah.
And communication is a buzzword, a big buzzword in business. And this system addresses communication like nobody's business.
Yeah.
It's a
Literally.
game changer.
Yes, literally a game changer. Cece wants to know if she can prepay for the book.
No pushing, Cece. Thank you, though. I know I got to get busy. I have a million things to do, but I need to start it, and I need to put a deadline down on myself about getting that book written, because, every chapter will be devoted to every, personality type and why I created it and so on. And Eileen and I are very excited about this product. We worked very hard, but it's in the beginning stages and launch stage, and it's been a blissful thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and Lynn is involved in a lot of different things. She's putting stuff in this chat box here. She's involved in a lot of different things that are happening in the world, and involving like volunteerism and the military and so forth. I just saw your comment, Cece. She says, okay, Barbara. She says, I'm a mover and a shaker. So next week for the book?
That is exactly how it would be. That's how my CEO used to be. It's like, what, that was done 2 hours ago? And you just heard about it. That's a mover and shaker.
Yes, exactly.
They need to honor themselves in that regard, because they really do love to have things happen. They're the original, they're Dorothy with the red slippers clicking their heels together. It's like click, click, it's happening. Click, click, it's happening. That's your mover and shaker.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sorry. I was talking about Lynn for a second here. She's involved in a lot of different things that involve like paid volunteers, militarized world. She says, how do we get all militarizes worldwide to unite and stand down and go green and create the golden age of Gaia and space travel together? How to shift from paid volunteers and for more armed forces and military police. Wouldn't it be great if the military had a system like this? Wouldn't it be great if the government on every level had a system like this and could really hear the people? And I don't want to get into political conversation, but how awesome would it be for the leaders of this world to recognize who their people are?
It's really what it is. And that, whether you're in military or government, I mean, my husband works for the post office, and boy, there's a lot of misunderstanding there. We don't understand each other. That's really the problem in the world today, is we do not understand each other. Yeah. And as a result of that, we aren't really doing, we're doing a great disservice. So whether you're trying to get people to understand the importance of the world and how to save the world and how to not pollute it, and to get the military to do certain things, the military is run, and again, one of the biggest things we see in San Diego is a lot of people get out of the military here in San Diego and they end up on the street, living on the street, because they don't know what to do after they get out of the military. Because when you go in the military, your job is picked for you. You might have some say over it, but once again, things are chosen for you. And if you don't really know who you are, you really don't understand. And remember, people can be told, you're not smart enough. You're never good enough. You don't understand. You have this issue or that issue. We need to stop finding the divisions of how we're different, and we need to start looking about how we're similar. Yeah. Because all of a sudden it's hand to hand, shaking hands to hand. People understand causes better. And when you see someone who's fighting for a cause, you have that peace in you. You are cause focused as well, but you learn to honor the fact that they're out on the forefront doing this work, helping, doing hospice care, whatever it is. We all have the same pieces. They're just rearranged differently. Mm-hmm. And so those are the things I really think that a lot of the comments have to do with the fact that people do not understand.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. So that's what the system addresses. It addresses about bringing people together. And I'm looking for speaking opportunities for people who would like to invite me to their platform for me to talk about this, as I'm doing here on Transformational Tuesdays. Eileen and I have a great program we do. The other thing is that I'm looking for companies who want to start working better together, who are ready for conscious business.
Mm-hmm.
That's the real key. We are conscious business leaders. This is this conscious business system.
Right.
Individually, for individuals, I also sit down with them and coach them on their wheel. And I do the things that get them to think, because remember, it takes one person to go possibly change the way something happens.
Yeah. One person. Yeah. Just one different outlook is going to change the world, right? Dolores, you had your hand wrist raised, so I'm calling on you.
Yes.
Oh,
Hold on.
hi, Dolores.
Dolores, can you hear me?
I could hear you. Hold on. I'm new to this. I'm new to this platform. Hold on. I'm here. I'm here.
Dolores.
Who is that? Dolores?
Hello.
Hi.
Do you hear me?
I do, but it doesn't sound like you.
I know. I got this sexy voice going on. I'm in Sedona right now, and I picked up some cold.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I was like, Dolores, is that really you?
Yeah, it's really me.
It's a Hollywood
So,
boy.
I just want to comment, Barb. I love the whole concept of what you do, and I've been involved with her and Eileen from the I want to say the initiation of this, and I think this is just an amazing tool to help bridge the gaps that there are so many of today. And Barbara, you so eloquently deliver the message. I just I so appreciate that about you. So I just want to share that.
Yeah, we're going to be tireless in getting this message out to the world, because we really feel that this will heal a lot of things. And that's my side. I've got that harmonizer side, and it does speak to me. And we just love this, and we're, like I said, we're just getting started. But thank you, Dolores. It's
and I'm with Cece there. I'm holding you to that book.
Yeah.
Because I know where you live.
You absolutely do know where I live. So
I know where you live.
I'm already seeing it. I'm feeling it in my bones today. I'm looking at it. I'm already psychically holding it. And so, that's how you get things to manifest, as you put yourself already in that position to get it going. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm standing behind you as an editor and publisher to get it out to the world. So
I know that.
Yeah.
I have wonderful help and a lot of encouragement. Thank you.
The
movers and shakers every week can ask me about the book.
Yeah. Thanks, Dolores. Hope you feel better. Enjoy Sedona.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Yeah. And Lynn, I would, I know that you're involved in a lot of different stuff, and she says she's working on developing our New Earth mental health care centers where all the body, mind, spirit healers and light workers can unite with their healing arts and transformational services, and teach and train teach and trade new health and human services and social healer services. Pay people to help, heal and love one another, stop paying people to drug, jail, and use guns to kill one another. And that is the purpose of that's one of the things that is underlying the purpose, I believe, of programs like what Barbara has right here, to be able to, for people who are not aware, to bring them a little bit higher up on the awareness scale, or a lot higher up on the awareness scale. Right, Barb?
Right, because what you do is, when we go into a company, what we do is we look at the company, we sit down and have a long talk with them. And we say, what do you want to accomplish? Where are your gaps? We want to know where your biggest issues lie. And we have a really good conversation, because we really need to hear from them. I also need to know who I'm talking to. Is it a mover shaker? Is it somebody who's going to delegate, whatever? But when you have an organization and you understand how all your people show up, so what we do is we license. We're going to license this system, the worksheets and the wheel, so that you can give this to everybody who's in your organization. But then what you do is that you've got to take it and use it. So what we do in our coaching is we actually go in and say, okay, we're going to work with the managers first. Let's recognize who you are. And we have breakouts where they work with each other. They recognize the traits. Then we ask them, think about your most difficult employee. Who do you think that is? And see, they're not in the room. So what we do is try to figure out who that person is. And then we start to say, okay, well, here's how you need to motivate them. This is how you need to speak to them. This is what you need to do to understand them. And then we actually work with each other, and we do little, exercises and different fun things to get everybody to start using the system. Mm-hmm. And then we move on to the next group, and we may actually work with the employees. We can do one-on-one coaching. I mean, there's lots of things that we can do with the system. And that's how when you're working on developing, Lynn, when you're working on developing and working with people, you want to know who you're working with and how they're going to communicate and work together. We can put together all these wonderful plans, but then you come up against somebody who's a truth teller. And what they do is they show up and they'll say, well, I don't think that this is a really good idea. And you're like, oh boy, because here I have to say, hear me loud, hear me clear. While we're all bright and shiny in some aspects, we have the dark side of who we are as well, the shadow side. And it's that shadow side that shows up, and like in the people who are truth tellers, they can flip and get really serious about being right and need to be right. Mm-hmm. And the balance, Cece, if you're a mover and shaker, I just want to tell you that if you're not balanced, when you start to go out and do your things, a whole lot of nothing happens. And you hide away, you don't take action, you're not going to go and do the things that you know in your heart that you want to do. So you got to start over. And we always tell people who are the movers and shakers, if you're having a bad day, you need to reboot. Shut the computer down and start it up again, because otherwise you're going to go nowhere. And that helps a lot because we see people at work who are shut down. Balance is a huge thing. And as a coach and a mentor, you would go to them and find out what's going on with them. Because maybe they're on the top of your sales chart because they're movers and shakers, but all of a sudden nothing's happening and you're like, what's going on? I'll guarantee you it's a lack of balance.
Cece, let me open your line and you can talk to Barbara rather than typing, okay? Is that okay? Okay. Here you go.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can.
Yes.
No, Danielle. Hi, Teresa, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so what I was saying is that I'm in that space right now. I have been doing all kinds of amazing things. And the last 6 weeks, nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I actually went to, because I'm a vet, I can get free psych services. I went and I talked to the psychiatrist at the VA, and they told me that I'm an adrenaline junkie. And because nothing is happening right now in bullets and points, that what I need to do is just shut down, take a vacation, reboot, and then start over. So I'm totally right there, what you're talking about right now, Barbara.
You do have to reboot. And I know for a mover and shaker, it's downtime is really hard. My husband is a mover shaker. And when we go on vacation, he measures the success of our vacation by how many things we do. And I'm all like, oh my God. So he's like, what are we doing today? And if you're not doing something, you absolutely feel as a mover and shaker that you're useless.
Right.
Okay. So movers and shakers, though, as I said, must come from a point of balance. And you really need to look at that and think, oh, I just need to rebalance. You're not an adrenaline junkie. You're a motivated manifester.
Good job. I like that. I like that.
See that?
See how people will give you the negative side. But the negative side is you can fall into feeling upset and angry with yourself if you're not getting things done. But when you go into a period like a crop, think of crops. You can't grow on the land constantly. Sometimes it has to go fallow or to be productive. So you are retooling, rebooting, refocusing, and world, watch out, Cece's going to bust out.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself because I've got a lot of stuff going on here. And look, I've got my grandson here dying to see what's going on the screen. So I'm going to mute myself back, but great conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Cece. Always good to have you here.
Cece, don't worry. You're going to snap back into place. It's all good. Don't worry. It's a natural process, okay? When you do a lot and you've been manifesting constantly, you do need downtime, just like sleep.
Yeah.
Because you may have to say, okay, all of that I've created, now what am I going to do with it?
Yeah.
So you need to refocus and reboot, but you need some downtime. Your crops need to rest. Your ground needs to rest, okay?
So Cece, if you have ever had ambitions of skiing in your life, the Northeast is loaded with snow right now. I have piles of snow that are taller than my son in my front yard. The ski mountains are like ready to roll. I mean, they're like, people are on the mountain every day. It's like, if that's something that will help you reboot, come and visit me. So anyway, I want to go back to the personal level of this. And Karen Mayfield from Wake Up Women is working on a book. I'm going to put this out there. Something else that's happening right now is Looking for Love Online, of all places, is the title of this book. And she wants to know how these personality behaviors and the work that you do could actually work in personal relationships and not just business. And I love that she asked this question because there are so many online dating services and people get connected and whatnot, and some of them get married, and the divorce rate in the United States is still ridiculously high. How awesome would it be, Barbara, if we could put this on a relationship level? Can we talk about that for a minute?
Talk about that, because I've done this. I do what I call a relationship reading. So when two people come together, I find out who they are at core power, and we might do one or two instead of the whole wheel. But the one or two are your primary power packs, okay? So you're going to mostly show up using those feet, okay? So here's a real life story. I have a young man, or a man and a woman, come in and they say to me, we're thinking about getting married, but we knew immediately when we met each other that there was something very special about us, that we were connected. And I said, great. So we discovered who they both were at their core power. So the husband, or the boyfriend, was a communicator. Now, one of the traits of communicators are, we need to talk things through. Whenever we have something that bugs us or bothers us, we just need to have some ears to listen to us so that we can talk through what it is we need to do. Now, understand, we're not asking for advice and we're not asking for help. So whenever I have a conversation with my husband, I'm saying, could you listen to me? I'm not asking for advice or help. I just need you to listen to me. So back to this couple. So I said, when I got to that point, explaining who he is, and let me just say, we only have an hour here. It would take me 5 weeks to tell you the qualities of everybody, and the good side, the dark side, and so on. But that's what I've done in my relationship courses, okay? So I said to him, you're a communicator, so you're going to need to talk things through. And I looked at her and I said, look, he's going to talk to you, but he doesn't want your advice or your help. And he looked at her and he goes, if we had known this 3 days ago, we could have avoided that whole big argument we had. Because she was mad at him because he wouldn't take her advice, but yet she didn't understand, how he showed up. Now, of course, she's a nurturer. She just shows up and things are just going to get better. She's a warm, fuzzy teddy bear. But what he had to know about her was, he needs to know how to support and honor that really good feeling that keeps her well running, full of that energy that makes everything feel better and work better together. And so I said, you need to listen to her and have her tell you how to honor her. So and I had another woman one time who came in and was having trouble with her husband. She was a truth teller. And she was so big and so powerful. I call them the spiritual warriors. And she was overshadowing him because he was in communication. So she wasn't listening to him. She was insisting on being right. And I said, look, if you want to fix this relationship, here's what you need to do. And then I told them how to honor each other. And it was like, she didn't want to hear that she needed to back down on that being right part, because that's a very big shadow side of a truth teller. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to hear that stuff. You don't want to hear someone say, well, I told you so. So when they finally backed down and she gave him more light to be who he was, it thrived. The relationship really thrived. And so that's the stuff that Karen, yes, this is very applicable to relationships, because when we know each other at core level and understand each other, and we all understand each other because we all are that. We all are each other.
Yes, indeed. We're all cut from the same mold. Well, not the same mold. The what?
We all have the same pie chart. It's just rearranged differently. That's why we're like snowflakes. No two are the same, but yet we all have similar qualities. How beautiful is that?
Indeed. And there are two people. Philomena Day met her significant other online in 2011, and Karen met her man of 7 years online as well. So
and I married the man that I met online.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So there's a lot of that going on. Let me see. Is there any way to put, let me see. Karen asks Barb if there is a way to put some of these methodology as a what? As an info? Karen, unmute yourself and ask your question. Let me unmute you. Hang on. I don't know what she's saying.
Well,
Yeah.
hang on. Let me do my video too. Well, what I'm asking Barb is, can you write up some descriptions of all this, and maybe say, if you are a communicator, these are some of the characteristics that this person may have. And if you are a manifester, these are some of these characteristics that this person may have. So that when they go in there and they're picking and choosing, they can kind of just look a little bit deeper into it. Because after you get from stage one and you start getting into developing a long-term relationship, those things are going to come up. So that's my question. I just couldn't type it, and then I hit enter and it was over.
Well, Karen, the long story short is it's already written down, but it's a proprietary.
Okay.
It's proprietary info. It's a separate book unto itself. It could be a separate book unto itself. Because if I'm going to coach,
can you pull some? Yeah. Can you pull some excerpts from it so that we can maybe, why don't you write your story, or let us interview you about your story and about your man and how you met him and now you married him. But don't you think a lot of that information that you're telling us and sharing with us was something that you put into practice in your relationship?
I sure do, because like I said, he's a mover and shaker, and he's always given me jobs. He's always given me things to do. And I always have to sometimes say to him, you need to stop your move and shake and shit, because I've got my own world.
Yeah.
And so if I didn't know that, I'd find that highly offensive.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I know is, I also know that when he's not balanced, he's just a big out of control spinning top. And that's when I grab him and I'm saying, now let's calm down here about this for a second. But he loves the internet. He loves Facebook. He loves talking to people because he's out there, because everything is a new experience for him. Yeah. But if you don't know that, it's like he could really wear you down. So yes, you're right. I've used it.
I mean, I wear myself down, because I'm I'm a generator, and so I'm continuously just generating ideas and stuff like this. If somebody just sat around and plugged into my brain, they could build themselves $1 million operations. I'm telling you, if there was just more of me.
Karen, I think that's really, you're probably in divine communication, because we get divine information from above, and it channels into us, and it comes out of our mouths, and it comes out of our fingers and what we write. And so you're right. I'm just like you. We love a lot of variety. We need a lot of variety. And so that's why we have all these ideas. So you're definitely probably a communicator, and that's how you understand, because do you need to talk things through? Do you have people who come?
Usually,
Yeah.
Yes, she does.
And a lot of times,
I can attest to that, because I get the phone calls. And she doesn't say talk. She says, got a flap. Teresa, I got a flap.
That's a communicator. This is amazing. This stuff is amazing. And of course, it's our proprietary, Eileen and I, it's our proprietary information. So we can license it to you. and we can let you use it as part of your book.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is that we need to be able to manage the process of owning our intellectual property. And, you know, it came from
Yeah, you do.
yeah. And so
Mhm.
I'd love to help you, but at the same time, we can talk about some things. I'd be happy to interview you and tell you how after the love and kisses and the passion subsides, it's like, what, about 3 weeks? And the older you are, the faster that goes. Then comes the real part.
I call it the magic. Yeah, the magic of 92 days. After 92 days, it's gonna get real somehow.
Yes, it does.
Yes,
And that's
indeed.
when we really need to flip this on and learn each other.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's magical.
So, but you already now let me see, Barb. You've already got that book written. So is that material already prepared and ready to sell or put on the market, or is that not ready? Are you got the reins on this one too? Or are you ready to let it go?
Well,
Is it ready to go?
the book isn't written yet, but it needs to be. This is a launch. This is a big conversation that Teresa actually pushed me to, because I actually had this under wraps, and she's known about this for some time.
Yeah.
But Eileen and I launched it to the public a couple weeks ago, and we have worksheets, and there's a lot of stuff in progress, but it's a very revolutionary idea.
Yeah.
And here's the thing I want to
think
say.
so.
This is
Wait, Karen,
I'm not
wait.
asking you-
Go ahead, Barbara.
I'm not asking you to understand 25 different things. We've got 8 power centers. They belong to each of us. If we learn this ourselves, we learn each other. That's the beauty of this. It's simple.
Yes.
And so that's the thing, is that sometimes they say beauty is in the simplicity, and this is very simple.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And our hour is gone, my friends. Do you believe it? Oh, it's crazy. So let me just say what. Okay, so Lynn just wants to say that teaching universal laws and soul purpose discovery and networking resonate jobs. Love Teresa and Barbara and all here to co-create our cities of enlightenment, green and healthy services around the world. Unite the red, yellow, black, and whites. Amen,
Yes.
sister. Thank heavens the purpose shakers are here and uniting. Bless them all. Bless, and she says, bless you, Teresa. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you so much. So, you do what you can on any level that you are able in order to be able to bring your awareness and your awakened spirit to others in the world, however it is that can be. And if you are interested in finding out more about yourself, or if you have a corporation that you know of that can utilize Barbara's services, contact her. Where do you want Barbara? Where do you want people to contact you?
They can call me. They can call me at 619
Mm-hmm.
787-7111.
Yeah.
And if they want more information about our program, go to GAP concierge.com.
Okay. And I'll put that in the blog. The blog will be up on transformationaltuesdays.com before the end of the week. You can find it there. Let me see here. Oh, Cece's pushing for 2 books, one for business, one for relationship. And could you have it done in 2 weeks, Barbara?
This is magic for relationships, and I've known it for some time because I've coached privately using this on relationships. But I really felt like I needed to get out in the business. I love what Lynn looks at the bigger world, and I love that. And so that's the reason why I'm really pushing for businesses. But don't be at all fooled in thinking that this isn't about individuals and people. We are about people. And that's the reason what we're doing is pushing in business. It's about people and getting people to see and love and understand each other, because this has no color to it. It's just very much about bringing everyone together and honoring who we are.
Awesome. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this incredibly good conversation. I'm excited about the work that you're doing, Barbara Yager, and bringing more of the ability to communicate and resonate and to actually move things to a higher level in this world, whether we're talking about individual entrepreneurs, individual relationships, or corporate entities, which are all made up of people. It comes right down to, who are you as an individual, at basically at soul level, at core level. Who are you, and what do you bring to the world, and how is it that you can contribute to every relationship, every conversation, anything that comes your way? It's our day-to-day life is in this, our day-to-day living to the highest level is in the information that you can learn about yourself through the GAP core power system. So I encourage you, contact Barbara. Give that phone number one more time, Barbara.
619-787-7111.
Okay, and you can also go to transformationaltuesdays.com, contact Teresa. If you have questions on anything that we've talked about, I can send them over to Barbara. If calling her is not something that works for you, go ahead and send them to me via the website, and I'll be happy to make the connection for you. She will call you. So I really want to thank you, Barbara. This has been a wonderful hour. Thank you all for participating and for being here and making Transformational Tuesdays part of your Tuesday. I appreciate each and every one of you. And until we come back together next week, enjoy traveling what I like to call the transformational trails of life. Have a great day, everybody. See you next time.